Hello, everyone. I like to get close to the mic. Thank you so much for having me, Socra. Thank you, Laura, also. Oh, I forgot I turned my head. Thank you, Laura, for having me as well. I'm so excited to be here at my first Socra Conference. And, when I came to Montreal, I thought that I really, before this, I thought that my French was pretty good. I really did. But I found out while being here that my French needs some work. But the beauty of this is that when I took my Uber here, I was able to speak some French to my driver, and he actually understood me. So I think I would make my French teachers pretty proud of me. So I said kudos to myself. So today also, before I start, I feel like I'm channeling my Janet Jackson, you see the? So, a lot of times, too, earlier when we were talking about, when the other speaker was talking about the colors and what we wear. So I know that helps, especially when we're talking about being inspired. And this is my power outfit. So I will go ahead and get started. No, sorry, y'all. I forgot about this, too, as well. Yesterday, I received news that my aunt passed away. So I just wanted to dedicate my talk to my Aunt Nancy. But I'm not going to cry, I promise. But I just wanted to dedicate this to her because she had lung cancer. And so thank you, Auntie Nancy, for being my inspiration. So, no crying on the podium. That's what I remember before what we said. So I'm going to be talking about creating a legacy and how to be inspired in your clinical research journey. So we are going to be talking about two topics today. We're going to be talking about networking, how to network, when to network, and what is outreach? What does outreach look like to you? And inclusivity in research. And we're also going to be talking about how to find your passion and how to be true to what you have been called to do. So when I'm listening to all of the speakers and I'm thinking about my talk, all of our topics, and it's touching on everything. So I know that we are all connected. I was thinking about Quincy when he was talking about how he stumbled, into clinical research, and a lot of people say that, but I always say that too. Clinical research found me. So let's talk about what does inclusivity mean? And I know that this is a heavy definition, but I'm going to read it. I promise I won't read any other slides except for this one. But this means the practice of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized. So this is a lot to unpack here. Like, what does inclusivity mean to you? What does it look like? What does it feel like? So I want you to take some time to think about, what does inclusivity mean to you? So now that you have thought about what inclusivity means to you, it means more than a buzzword. It's not an add-on. It needs to be involved in all areas of research. It needs to be involved in the patient population and in the clinical research workforce. So I remember when I was a coordinator, we had low enrollment numbers for our studies. So I asked my principal investigator, why are our numbers so low? What can I do to help? And he said, honestly, Danielle, I see so many patients a day that I forget to ask them about participating in a clinical trial. So it really dawned on me when he said this, that people aren't being asked to participate in clinical trials. A lot of times we think that people don't want to participate, but if you never ask anyone, then they never have that opportunity. And I also think about when I was a child and when someone wouldn't invite me to a party. I used to think, I'm the life of the party. Why wouldn't they want to invite me? But I always felt like when I wasn't invited, that I was excluded. So it's important to allow people to have that opportunity to be involved in clinical research, whether it's a patient or whether it's working in clinical research. I know for me, I found out about clinical research at a pool party. So what would have happened? Where would I be if someone didn't tell me about clinical research at a pool party? So I felt included when my college classmate told me about clinical research and said, you should consider this as a career. So when we think about inclusivity in research, we have to think about embracing different race, gender, ethnicity, everyone. Everyone needs a seat at the table. So we have to foster an environment that feels safe for people. You know, a safe space where people can ask questions and not feel as if their questions won't get answered. So a lot of times we always talk about the patient population, but we don't talk about the diversity in the workforce. People feel comfortable with people who look like them. Diverse professionals recruit diverse patients. And so I have so many stories where people have told me, when I tell them I'm in clinical research, and I'll just share a quick story. One of the ladies that I met said, my mother was having breast surgery. And I was really nervous, and I was sitting in the clinic waiting for the doctor to come in. And she said, while she's waiting, a black doctor walks in, and she asked her, "Can I hug you?" So she said she immediately felt like a relief, because she felt like her mother had someone who could understand her. So I always, keep these stories with me, because it makes me want to make sure that the clinical research industry is diverse. I promise you, I keep clinical research in my back pocket. I talk about it wherever I go. And so I encourage you to incorporate it everywhere you go, whether it's at the airport, the grocery store. I have told grocery clerks before about clinical research. I will talk about clinical research to anyone, and I encourage you to talk about clinical research as well, because a lot of people don't know that clinical research even exists. And when we think about it, clinical research is not taught in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. So we have to do our part. Now that we are clinical research professionals, we have to give back. We have to go to those career fairs, tell children about clinical research. Recently in Michigan, I went to a career fair, and I was really shocked with how much the students were interested in clinical research. I was so afraid of my talk being boring. I'm like, these kids they're going to be like, please sit down, Miss Danielle. But they were so interested, they raised their hand, they had questions. So we have to give people an opportunity to learn more about clinical research, because, and like we said before, a lot of times we are in our clinical research bubble. So we have to talk to people outside of the clinical research industry if we want to bring more people in. So let's talk about networking. I am a big networker. I apologize if you have received any messages from me, but a lot of times I like to plant seeds. I will hop in your inbox. I will shoot my professional shot. I want to connect with you. So I encourage you as well to shoot your professional shot. Don't be afraid. A lot of times fear holds people back from connecting and networking, but you have to think about it. It's not easy. But you have to practice. You have to practice having those conversations, and it's okay if someone doesn't respond to you. You might receive a lot of no's, or someone just ignores your message, but it's okay. So continuously keep attending conferences, networking with people. And so when I was looking at the Socra app, I could see that there was all of the different people that are present here at the conference. I encourage you to scroll down the list of all the people that are here. Reach out to, this is your homework, reach out to about 5 new people on the Socra app that you haven't had a chance to talk to. And LinkedIn is a gold mine. I'm on LinkedIn more than Facebook. So, and a lot of times people think of LinkedIn as they think of it just as professional, but people really want to have relationships. It's a relationship, it's like relationship/professional, but, tell people happy birthday. Tell people congratulations, like posts, comment posts. Don't go on Facebook and not interact, because that's how you stop your growth. So when we think about outreach as well, what does outreach mean to you? And I mentioned this before. I'm a walking clinical research advertisement. If you see me, you might see me with a shirt, something. I am all clinical research. And it wasn't until clinical research found me that I finally felt connected to my career. I knew that this was the place for me. And, a lot of times we have to determine what our why is. And like Laura was saying, determining your why will help you on those days that it's challenging. My why is my grandmother. My grandmother had breast cancer, and so I made it my mission to help other women who had breast cancer as well. And so clinical research was the best career option for me. And I'm so glad to meet everyone. You guys are so supportive. I'll tell you, I can reach out to anyone and they'll be like, hey, Danielle, I can help you. So definitely when you think about outreach, think about going outside, because you are a trusted community partner. You are now an expert. So be that person that you wish would have showed up for you when you were younger to tell you about clinical research. And I tell people this too. My whole family is in clinical research. So because I have told so many people about clinical research, my husband's in clinical research, my sister's in clinical research, my aunt's in clinical research, my cousin's in clinical research. So be that person in your community that can talk about clinical research. So how do you define your passion? And I touched on this before. It really deals with determining your why. What excites you? I know a lot of times when I can't sleep at night, I might have to get a notebook and write things down. That's what you want to focus on. And so a lot of times people aren't sure about what their passion is, but if there is something that keeps you up at night or something that you feel, hey, this is a good idea, don't wait for anyone to tell you that this is a good idea. You don't need confirmation from anybody. And it's important after you define your passion to set goals. And it's okay if your goals, sometimes you have to cross out your goals, or sometimes you have to start over. But if you have a timeline, and I'm old school, I like to write it down. I need to see it, and I need to achieve it. And so once you have set your goals, there are going to be challenges. There are going to be speed bumps, there's going to be roadblocks, but it's important to move through those challenges and to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. I ask for help all the time. And so once you have embraced these challenges, it's time to take action. Take off. I'm giving you your opportunity today after this conference, from everything that you have learned from everyone, to take off. You don't need to wait on anyone. I know that, because I've talked to you guys, that we all have ideas. We all have a voice. So how do you leave a legacy? You leave a legacy. When I think of legacy, I should back up. I think about impact. How do you make an impact? You make an impact by sharing your knowledge. You make an impact by inspiring the next generation of future clinical research leaders and creating a positive influence. You make an impact and create a legacy through people. How do you want people to remember you? What are they going to say about you for generations to come? As long as you help one person, that's enough. Thank you so much.